Welcome, everybody. It's lovely to see you again. I'm glad you've joined us. And it's 2025, so we're expecting a good year. If you're looking at this retrospectively, you can tell me whether it has been a good year or not. But so far, it's January and it's exciting. So I've invited Jemma Burgess here today again, and she's going to talk to us. Good morning, Jemma. How are you?
Good morning. Yes, I'm very well, Victoria. Thank you. And thank you for having me back again. I really enjoy our conversations and our growing relationship. It inspires me every time we speak. So yeah, really excited to have another chat with you today.
Yeah, well, I'd really like to dive more into your hope on prescription. I'd like to know more about that and about you and what inspired you to develop it. So maybe you can just begin by telling us what hope on prescription is. How did you get this baby going, and what's happening with as far as developing it?
Yes, sure. So interestingly enough, I actually started this project about 5 years ago. And at the time it was called Hope Adventures. And the idea was to basically help inspire people to have hope through the creative arts and originally the great outdoors as well. Because I was given Artisan Island in Canterbury. Due to moving away, I then lost the role of things down there and decided to put it on the back pedal. And I was like, right, maybe this is a project that doesn't ever come out. But it was like the books on my shelf started talking to me. It was like, just pick me up again. So I was like, okay, well, maybe we should revisit this project. I felt a calling to do it, Victoria. It just sort of keep coming to me. Ideas kept coming to me. The
Mm.
books that I'd had all my ideas in just kept sort of jumping off the shelf. And I was like, okay, let's pick it up. Let's see what this wants from me and how I can make this work in this new area that I live in. So I renamed it and I decided to rename it Hope on Prescription, predominantly because I, at this stage, was now classed as the local health champion within my community.
Mm.
And I wanted to stress the importance, I feel, of how there is so much power in the creative arts and helping us through challenging times, which in turn ignites hope, brings us hope. It's all about self expression. It's all about finding that light during the darkness. And it's all about just re inspiring that, yes, okay, we have challenging times because we do. We can't escape that. It's going to always happen. But the
Mm.
main thing is there is always a little bit of light. And sometimes we just have to look a little bit closer. And this just kept growing inside of me, and I was like, I need to share this with people. I had so much research, so many ideas, workshops, plans, and I was like, it's time to start sharing this. So it got to about a year ago where I really started to knuckle down with it. I started contacting the right people, getting the motions in action. And yeah, I started to make hope happen within the community. And that's kind of it birthed from a place of intense emotion for me. But then I tried to sort of leave it, and then it was like, no, you're not leaving it. So it just grew and grew, and I'm so glad it has because it's powerful to so many people. And to me too. And it means so much in my heart, which obviously helps because if you're passionate about something, then you never give up.
Yeah, and you've got the radio show as well as part of that.
Yeah.
You're talking about your roles and your personal journey into uh, performance, etc., and projecting self through arts, etc. How did you develop that in yourself? What made you, was this a childhood thing, or was it something you grew into as you became an adult? And how do you see that helping you with hope on prescription?
Absolutely. So for me, it grew with me at a very young age. I have always struggled with very intense emotions. They amplify. So I like when I feel, I really feel. So for example, if I was to love, I love so much, I feel it in my heart, I want to squeeze you. Or when I cry, I cry, like, and I will cry intensely for ages. And it's hard to regulate my emotions. I mean, I've done a lot of work on myself over the years to be able to be where I am now. But I mean, I do still have my days. But from a very young age, I used to journal. And the age of 8 was the first journal that I was able to look back at as an adult. I kept it for that long. And I started to read back to try and understand myself, to try and figure out why I was so emotionally intense and how I could navigate my way through life. And what I noticed through my journals was that I was writing poems and I was writing songs, and situations that I was finding hard to process as a child, I was then letting out through singing a song. Or, I mean, looking back at it now, I have no idea what rhythm went with that song. But all I know is it provided me that space to channel out those really hard emotions that my 8-year-old self couldn't do. And that's what sort of kept me ticking through. As I got older, it then became an expression through dance, and then it became an expression through acting. And I didn't realize this, but as I was growing up, because I wanted to avoid my emotions so much, that's why I loved acting so much, because I was able to then adopt a different role. I was a different person. And as sad and hard as it sounds to say that now, I understand because of all the learning that I've done. But all of that, every single part of that, the creative process, the planning, all of that gave me room to release all those really heavy emotions.
That's quite a powerful thing. So you're really saying that it's really good for young people to start expressing themselves. I can remember writing. I've still got three exercise books full of my poems from when I was a child. And when I look back at them, I'm there. It's hard to remember sometimes what you were like as a child and what was affecting you. And it takes me back to those moments. I can't say I was traumatized in any way, but I was starting to start feeling love and questioning what love and relationships and friendships are about. And so I can see that what you're doing would help an awful lot of young people and children and their parents to understand them. Let's take that again then. So you write poetry and you include poetry in your program, don't you? In your Hope on Prescription radio show. So can you tell us how is that received even? How do people respond to that?
So on the radio, it's wonderful because we have an array of opportunities to share stories and songs. And for me, poetry is just so powerful. So I was like, right, let's get it out there a bit more. Let's share it more so. And because the radio is on the hospital, it's really nice because it provides that beautiful language for people to just listen into while they're either busy working or recovering or whatever it is. And we share the poems on the radio, and we've had a few wonderful responses, people writing in saying thank you so much for sharing this. I really relate to this. We actually had a gentleman message me saying please share this poem that my granddad wrote that has got me through my entire teenage to adulthood. And that in itself was such a beautiful thing, because he wrote this small short sweet poem, but that small, short, sweet poem stayed with his grandchild, and it has helped him through so many situations throughout his life. So it just shows the power that poetry can have. Getting really good responses, like people that I'm talking to in different communities, from different departments at the hospital, from listeners that are listening that are actually outside of the hospital. They're really quite excited because they're like, oh, well, what's going to be shared next? And the beauty of it is, like, I always try to find poems that inspire hope, but also poems that allow you to express those difficult feelings. So there might be situations where you have gone through a circumstance that are really hard to talk about, which is natural because you don't want to unearth that sort of stuff sometimes, and it is challenging to talk to people. But the beauty in poetry writing is it allows you to express it metaphorically. So you haven't got to actually go, this has happened to me in its rawest form. You could then change it into, well, the roots of the ground were intertwined within my soil where I could not see no light, for example. example. And that's kind of me saying, oh, well, I was lost within the earth and it was so dark and I couldn't breathe. But do you know what I mean? Like, so it allows you to express yourself without really having to say the words, but you feel like you're saying the words from here. I don't know whether when you're writing poetry, Victoria, if you experience that, where you can express something like that, but not it's exact what's happened. Does that make sense?
Well, yes, sometimes I think I'm more careful these days, and I like language, and I try to find the right words to express my feelings. Whereas when I was younger, probably I didn't, and that's where perhaps performance art comes in, or painting, and where there's no, you don't have to think, you can just feel and
Yeah.
express it through color and form or movement, even. How do you see your workshops going? Once you get this completely sort of embodied and out there, how do you see your workshops? What do they be like? How can we join them?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So predominantly my focus is on poetry and performance because that is my strongest area. However, that being said, I have recently been exploring some wonderful painting workshops. Just like you said, some people can't articulate words and don't know how to articulate words and may not even want to, and that's okay. So what other types of expression can we offer to people like that? Painting it is one. Like you say, you can let go of that thought and whatever comes on the canvas is what comes on the canvas. There's something so beautiful and powerful about art is that there is so many room for experimentation, for exploration. You don't have to worry about mistakes. I remember when I first started painting, I was always so frustrated because if I'd make a mistake, that was it for me. It ruined the entire canvas. But whereas my friend, who is a painter and she helps me with these workshops, she was like, yeah, but mistakes could actually end up being something miraculous, part of it. Like, and I never really saw that until we done a workshop recently at We Are Beams. We did a painting workshop there, and we created a hot air balloon. And one of the kids dripped a little bit of red paint in the green area. And I've looked and I've gone, oh no. But she's gone, amazing. Look at our new ladybird. And I was like, wow. Like in my mind blew, the little girl's mind blew because me and the little girl was stood there like, oh no. But she was like, no, 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 it's fantastic. So now we have this beautiful little ladybird that was sat in the grass that showed me and this little girl that mistakes can be part of it. Like it is a part of it and it can be a beautiful part of it if we allow it, if we open up our minds to see the possibilities, because there are infinite possibilities, especially within creative arts. So back to your question about the workshops, we're going to be running a series of workshops in primary schools, in secondary schools, in the community halls, where children are going to get involved in poetry and performance. And there are going to be, as I say, community workshops where young adults and adults are all welcome to come along and get involved in the poetry and performance. There are going to be pop-up art ones here, there and everywhere, but my focus predominantly this year will be on poetry and performance. There'll be also stuff going on online. So there's going to be like little competitions propping up, little rooms for expression for people to share their stuff online. So if you can't always get to us in person, you're not alone. Like we're here to support you. And we're so blessed now with this extra connection to be able to reach out to more people that provides that online and offline experience, which is it's really exciting.
Yeah, so I can imagine that you're looking for funding for this then and support. So if anybody in your there today would like to support Gemma in what she's doing, I think it's unusual and exciting and valid, very, very useful. And I know with my own family, when there's been grief, that some of the children have needed to sing songs, make songs, getting into the vibration of their emotion and create words. And I know how helpful this can be. So if anybody would like to support Gemma, then please contact her at the end of this. The information will be at the end of the interview. So what's your journey in trying to help get some financial backup for this then?
Yeah, so originally I had the idea, and then I was like, well, how am I going to fund this? Like, I'm a single mum with three kids and on a part-time job. I was like, I can't fund this kind of project. So I started reaching out to people that I knew that had done similar things. And sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know. So I have got to say a massive thank you to all the people that have helped me grow an understanding of how to reach out to get funding. And if anyone else wants to have a chat about what I've learned in that process, then again, please don't hesitate to ask me. I was incredibly scared of this side of the project, Victoria. I won't lie. It's all very new to me. I've always been someone's employee. I've never really had to actively find money to support a project like this. But I just got the motions in go. I mean, there's so many incredible things online that you can look at now to find funding. And you have to go through this process of writing out an application to apply for the money. But at the beginning, I found this like a really daunting process. And I was like, oh no, I'm way in over my head. I can't possibly do this. But the best thing about this application that I learned was I needed it. You need that application in order to pull apart every single part of your project so that you fully know how that project is going to run. So there was so much of it that I was like, well, this is the idea, this is the plan. I'm just going to pop along and do this. But then I didn't think about, well, who's going to be manning that area when I'm running that workshop? Or who's going to accompany me? Because I can't just go into a class of 30 children on my own. I need an assistant. And how am I going to, are the days going to match up? Are we going to get the days right? Is the timeline going to work? Like there are so many things that you have to consider about the project. Now, I'm not sharing that to scare you all off, but I'm sharing it as the realization that going through these applications builds strength. It gives you the ground map, the blueprint, if you like, to how it's all going to run. So although it might be a challenge, it's a challenge absolutely worth taking. I'm really proud to say that we have received Stone Pharmacy is a sponsor, Property Renovations is a sponsor, Co-op Green Hive, and we've now just officially got Kent County Council, which is which is huge. So we have got an incredible array now of sponsors. However, I have such a big idea for this project that I applied for the Arts Council England, which I am now in waiting stages. I submitted the final application just before Christmas, and I'm just waiting to hear back. But it's nerve-wracking. I'm
Yeah.
nervous, Victoria. Like I'm waiting. I'm like, is it a yes? Is it a no? But at the same time, I'm so excited because all the foundations that we put in place, all the networks and connections we've made, even if I wasn't to get that, there's going to be another door. There's going to be another opportunity. And that's a message that I want everyone to hear from this is even in those moments that you might not get what you want or might not get what you feel like you need for your business right now, don't give up because it will open up another door to a different opportunity. I had one of the schools pull out recently and I was like, oh my God, no, you can't do that. Come back. But in order for because they pulled out, I have another school that has got real rooted connections to poetry winners and things like that. And it's like, well, as one door closes, another opens. Like it's okay. Just like ride the waves because you will get through it.
Yeah, and also that it opens your mind as to where possibilities of funding can be, because there's an
Mm.
awful lot of people leave legacies and donations to organisations and businesses to enable them, like schools, etc., colleges, to enable them to give out to the community. And it's just finding those, and that a lot of that is networking and word of mouth, isn't it? So setting up a non-profit is very difficult in its outlook. And like everything, you wouldn't do anything if you didn't have the passion to
Mm.
drive you forward. But once you get started and you get the help and the support and the ideas come from external, there are people out there with the answers that can help guide you and help you fill out the forms even.
Yeah, yeah. My first application in comparison to my application now, I have a mentor and she is an absolute genius. She's so clever, but she's done these things so many times that she now knows, like she can roll this off at the back of her tongue. Whereas because I've never done it before, my application was very bare. It was very underdeveloped. The idea was there, but the action of how to make it all happen, it was missing. And that was okay though, because that just meant for me, I needed to learn more. And that's what life is about. It's all about learning. And every day you learn a little bit more. And every day, like you might notice that something hasn't gone right. But it's all a part of the journey. And I remember listening to a lot of motivational speakers, and they always say, fall in love with the journey. Like, don't stress about the destination, fall in love with the journey. And I see that now, because within that journey, you grow personally so much.
And that's hope, isn't it? That's where hope
Yeah,
is in, because you've always got that dream that you're working towards and you're hoping for a better future. And
yeah,
the hope that somebody will help you. And you have that openness. Hope opens us to opportunity, don't you think?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, hope is the poet of the heart and the soul, because it's the hand that's reaching from the darkness, providing you that little bit of light. Because life is, it's all about balance, isn't it? You're going to get the darkness, but you're going to get the light. And sometimes we have to look a little bit closer, but hope really allows you to find the beauty in situations, to find the little bit of strength, just like when you're trying to light a fire and getting that little spark. Although it seems so small, if you keep focusing on that spark, eventually you will have something, you'll have your fire blazing, and you're dancing around the fire.
I like the idea of hope on prescription, though. It's like, it's medicine. Without hope, you can't
It
get better.
is, in my eyes, hope is the antidote that we all need. If we all have a little bit of hope, we're all able to open our minds a little bit more to find solutions to these problems.
Mm,
I mean, it's not easy, Victoria. I'm not saying it is. There's been certain times where I've been so dark, where I was like,
yeah.
what even is hope? And I've had it. I had a massive crash last year whilst I was running this project. And I was like, I said to my friend, it's like, how am I supposed to inspire hope when I don't feel like I have it? And I was getting so frustrated. But the thing that I was missing, and I know this might sound strange, like a lot of people don't really understand the concept, but for me, the thing that I was missing was gratitude. Because the minute I started really homing in on the things that I could be grateful for in the midst of all the darkness, so say you've got loads of crazy stuff going on, but you have healthy children, but you have a roof over your head.
Yeah.
All right. You might not have any gas, but you have a pair of pajamas and an extra pair of socks. Like these little things we often look over because we're just so used to it. Like it is just a part of our life. But those little things provide hope. And
Yeah.
through sitting down and writing gratitude lists, you was like for me, I was then able to see so many reasons to have hope. So I did it. I did it for a whole month, 28-day practice where I wrote down 10 things that I was grateful for during the time that I didn't feel like I had any hope.
Yeah.
And at the end of the month, I had 280 things to prove that there is hope.
Mm.
And we just have to look a little bit closer. I mean, some days there are a few things that I repeated, but that's okay. I love my duvet.
I
Do
think
you know
that's
what? It
amazing.
doesn't matter. It's the simplest of things. A warm cup of tea that can bring you hope in quite a frustrating moment where you just need to go and take a breather. Go and have a warm cup of tea. There's a little bit of hope
Yeah.
because you're listening.
Self-nurturing as well as self-expression is
Yeah.
important. So we're looking forward then to hearing more about your Hope on Prescription through the show and through your social media, etc. So, have we got any dates yet for anything exciting coming up for you?
Yes, we do. So Thursday, the 6th of February, is going to be the first Hope on Prescription live on air back on Valley Park Radio. So me and Dave will be back presenting all things hopeful, and it will run every fortnight throughout the year, which I'm really excited. We done it last year. It started in June, and it's continued going. It's been such a success, and we've had so much lovely feedback. And Victoria, you was one of our guests last year. And so that's really exciting. In terms of the rest of the project, I can't give dates just yet because we are waiting, as I say, on the Arts Council England and how we're going to navigate through with or without it. But fingers crossed, things are looking really hopeful, and I've got hope that it's going to happen because I'm out here making hope happen. And this, I think, is something really important to consider, because some people have said to me, Victoria, but hope is dangerous. Hope is something that you can naively fall into. And it gave me food for thought, because I was like, well, I'm the opposite. I'm an absolute lover of hope, and I see its power. I believe in its power. But when you're feeling like it's not a great thing, you just have to put hope in action, make hope happen. So you take a step towards whatever it is that you hope for. You can't just sit there and go, well, I hope to get these new trainers. Let's just use a silly example. I hope to get these new trainers, and then get really depressed that you're not getting these new trainers. But what have you done? What did you do? Did you save up? Have you been putting money away? Did you find a better deal? Do you know what I mean? Like, what are you doing?
Sometimes things come in other ways, don't they? You don't have to buy them yourself. You're made to buy some that is not worn and give them to you. You know.
Yeah.
I think hope is about disappointment. People are afraid of the disappointment of the hope not being reached, but they don't realise that once you set that goal and you hope for something, it can come or lead you into other things. And sometimes that hope, that dream of a new flat or a new home or a new partner, just takes a little bit longer. It's not going to happen tomorrow. But
absolutely.
On a happy note of hope, I think we need to just remind everybody of how they can contact you and how you can inspire hope in them.
Yes, absolutely. So if you want to check more out of Hope on Prescription, you can head on over to www.hopeonprescription.co.uk. You can also go over onto YouTube and just type in Hope on Prescription. We've got some videos on there. There's going to be some pre-recorded Valley Park Radio episodes from last year on there as well. And this will continue to build. At the moment, I'm a one-man band when it comes to social media. So I am working on that. But again, it's something that I need to grow at doing. But there will be things where you can go to. There's going to be resources. There's going to be books. There's going to be songs, like an inspiring playlist. If you're in one of those moods, just create this playlist of songs and it will help to inspire hope within your hearts. Also a Facebook page, Hope on Prescription. You can head on over to there. Sometimes we do an odd competition. We did a competition, didn't we, Victoria, at Christmas, where a lovely lady won 4 tickets to go and see Sleeping Beauty.
Amazing. What a gift.
It's just like finding, but it's just like finding little things, little stories, real stories. So even
and
if
sponsors, more sponsors. If anybody wants to help
absolutely,
Jemma,
because
or
we can't.
Maybe somebody would like to give some time to you to help you with some social media or something.
Yeah,
don't know. And any connections, please send them to Jemma.
It takes a team. It takes a team, guys. Like, we can't do this hope for inspiring work without a team. You can't. And that's something that I've learned heavily over the last year. I was like, no, I could get all this done. But you can't. You need a team. And that team just strengthens that hope.
Well, it's all coming to you, I'm sure, and it's going to be great. I know people I can think of people to recommend to you for the workshops and different things. So I'm looking forward to it. So meanwhile, listening to Jemma's radio show, all the details are below. And thank you, Jemma. Thank you so much for coming and sharing with us today.
Oh, thank you so much, Victoria. It's been wonderful, and it's actually been really nice to be interviewed. As I said to you before, I was like, I'm used to interviewing everyone else, so this was new to me today.
Thank you so much, and see you again, everyone. And
Thank you.
2025. Let's see what happens. What's
Mm,
occurring?
that's it. Have hope, guys, and make it happen.
Bye. Bye.